Hey guys, it is currently about 2:15 in the morning. I woke up and, well, actually didn't wake up, I never went to sleep. Had just a big spike of anxiety for some reason, just kind of out of the blue. So I got up and took a clorazepam and kind of just tried to calm myself down. Luckily it didn't turn into a full panic attack, but I was having like a lot of the symptoms that I mentioned in the last video, basically. And took a ice cold shower, which was miserable, but I feel pretty good now. For some reason, when you're really anxious, whenever you get really cold, it kind of shocks the system, and it takes your thoughts off your anxiety and more towards the amount of cold that you're experiencing. So I feel pretty refreshed too. But yeah, I decided to go for a walk and just talk for a little bit. And here we go. Ooh. It's just as cold out here as it is in the shower. Maybe slightly warmer. Still snowy, but some of it's melted already. Yeah, so how my day went. So I had an anxiety flare up about an hour ago. And I think I handled it pretty well overall. I think the therapy's been working pretty good, and the medication, which I'm really happy because if I had been making these vlogs, like hell, just a few months ago, it would have been a totally different person. I'd be having panic attacks constantly, and like bad ones. Yeah, I was thinking, because it's brought up on my at my therapy class group, about positive and negative thoughts, and I've always had a lot of resistance to that way of thinking, because people always say I have like a negative outlook on things. And holy shit, it's cold. It is not a good idea to take an ice cold shower then go out in the winter. Anyways, I've always had a difficult time being positive. But not only that, but I don't see much value in being positive because there's like a lot to unpack and like explain. It's hard to think of the right words. But how I don't like to see things in terms of things being positive or negative. I just want to I see things as what's the most probable thing that will happen. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you're gonna ask a girl out, right? The negative outlook would be, she's gonna say no, she's gonna, reject me. The positive will be like, oh yeah, she's going to say yes and love me, for example, That's the positive. I don't see any value in either of those things because you don't know what the outcome is. And I don't think that positive and negative thoughts really play that big of a role in the outcome of whatever you're pursuing. It helps with confidence, things like that, and confidence could take you so far. But really, what it comes down to is just like probability. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how positive I am going into brain surgery, something I've never done, obviously. I wouldn't be living in this apartment if I was a brain surgeon. I wouldn't be able to do brain surgery, no matter how positive my outlook is. Just because there's positivity, there's negativity, and then there's reality. And what I mean by that is, everything's really just probability and taking control over the things that you can control. You know, to change that probability for your benefit, if that makes sense. I don't really see any real value in negative or positive thoughts. I think they're equally like the same. I don't necessarily think negative thoughts are bad or positive thoughts are good inherently. Really, it just kind of puts feelings over reality. I see it as like a coping mechanism or a mask rather than looking at the situation for what it really is. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people. My mother, even my therapist, and I explained it. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I am. But hopefully I said it in a way that you could understand. But yeah, what were your guys' thoughts on that? Example that I've used is, it goes right back to the hiking example, is let's say you go for a hike, and 90% of the time when you go for a hike, you run into a grizzly bear, right? And so eventually someone asks, like, hey, you want to go for a hike? And you're like, no, because there's probably going to be a grizzly bear there, you know, just because 90% of the time you've encountered a grizzly bear. And someone says, oh, you have a negative outlook, because people use negativity as just a bad thought, right? But just because things are a bad thought doesn't mean it's inherently bad. Like for the bear example, you know, that's actually makes sense to have that thought pattern because it matches what you've experienced, you know? It's kind of like when hunters bring a gun, or not hunters, hikers bring a gun with them when they go hiking. It's to ward off bears. It's not because they're negative, you know? People will say, oh, you're being negative because you're assuming that there's going to be a bear. Yeah. You know, like you prepare for the worst case scenario, so to speak, even when it seems kind of rare. And so when things happen in my life that consistently happen, you know, for example, with like friendships, you know, I've consistently had a hard time, and just relationships in general, I've consistently had a hard time with it. And I think a lot of it has to do with just, I don't even know, honestly. It just seems like people just kind of want to avoid me. And not everybody. I know there's a lot of people that support me and everything, but there's a lot of people that do seem to just want nothing to do with me. Yeah, when you go through that so often, you're like the hunter with the gun. You just kind of expect it. And not because I think it's going to happen, but it's just because I don't know. But it has happened so often that that's like my mindset. It's like a defense mechanism, basically. And just telling me to be positive just doesn't really help me, because it seems impractical and it seems like, I don't know. I just feel like positivity is like really overused. Like I feel like people think it's like some magical thing where if you're positive, things just magically start working. And like I said, there are benefits to positivity, like confidence and things like that. But you could be confident and fail at things as well. You know, it's not really I don't think the thought process or your emotional state plays as big of a role as the things that you're good at. You know what I mean? Like, you, it's kind of like sitting in a gym and expecting to get buff. You know, you actually have to put in the work and effort. That's what actually makes things happen. Uh, your emotions and how you feel really are just that, your emotions. And I think people put too much value in how they feel rather than looking at things objectively and looking at, hey, what things in my life is in my control, and working on those things to, better whatever it is that you're trying to uh, get better at in life, whether it be relationship and communication, things like that, So, I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but gonna be probably heading to bed soon. I'll continue the video in the morning when I go to therapy. It's my last day of therapy. The therapy group tomorrow. Then I'll be starting a new group. Don't know when, but soon. So I'll keep you updated. If you're wondering why my hair is wet, it's been a few days since I last recorded. I'm just adding this to the video, so I just got out of the shower. But I wanted to continue on about the negative and positive thoughts, because some just kind of dawned on me, and I thought of a good way of explaining it. I really wanted to get in kind of the meat and potatoes of it, because I feel like I didn't really explain it that well. I'm proud of myself, though. I did manage to shave without cutting myself. It's nice. Do you remember the old cartoons, like Tom and Jerry and that, where, is that water droplet? No. Where Tom would have a little devil on his shoulder and a little angel on his right shoulder, and the angel would tell him good things and not to do something bad, and the devil or the demon on the other shoulder is telling him to do the bad thing, whatever it may be. I feel like people kind of interpret positivity and negativity kind of the same way, kind of like they're like two different things, like they're opposing forces, so to speak, and I don't see it that way. I see that positivity and negativity are like two sides of the same coin. I mean, I see it as they're both the same thing, and I'll try to explain what I mean. Probably think it's silly if I said, if I had the negative thought of, oh, I can't lift this bottle of water, right? It would also be like equally strange if someone said like, oh, I could totally lift that bottle of water. Like they said that like out loud. You'd probably get like weird looks, like, yeah, okay. So, I had asked myself, why is that the case? Why is it not a big deal or seen as strange if you have a positive or negative outlook on lifting a bottle of water? That's because anyone could do it, There's no risk involved. So there's no risk involved with lifting a bottle of water, anyone could do it. I mean, not everyone. There's a chance that you could reach for a bottle of water and have a stroke at that moment and not be able to move your arms. But I mean, the chances of that are so astronomically low that you don't even take it into consideration. So you don't have a positive or a negative thought attached to your ability to lift that cup of water or whatever, because there's no reason for it, because there's no risk. Clearly, what negative and positive thoughts are sort of a form of risk assessment. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I do know that we don't like feeling shitty. We don't like rejection. We don't like sadness. We don't like anger. We don't like bad feelings, quote unquote, or negative feelings, as people would say. So our brain tends to try to incentivize not feeling that way, because it's generally doesn't feel good, right? Any type of emotional pain whenever we're gonna go and do a task or do something, whatever that may be, and it's something particularly difficult or something you've never done before, it'll either be positive or negative. And I think those are both just risk assessments. It's your judgment of what are the chances of you accomplishing whatever it is that you're trying to do. And I don't see positivity and negativity as opposing forces. I think it's the same part of your brain. It's just making a risk assessment and trying to make a judgment call. Like if I was going to go into, a marathon race and I do not run, I hate running. I would probably think, I'm going to lose this race, or at least I'm not going to win. Or if I was the opposite way around and I said, yeah, I'm going to win, and had a positive mindset, it wouldn't make much of a difference either. What would make the difference is how well I run. So going back to the bottle example, if I had a negative outlook for whatever reason, said, oh, I can't pick up that bottle. There's no way I could do that. I'm a horrible bottle picker-upper. And I go and I lift it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, look, I was able to do it. Or the other way around, I was hyper positive and it's like, yeah, I'm going to pick up that bottle. It's going to be super easy. And you pick it up and you're like, yeah, see, I could do it. Thing is that your thought process in that was never really a variable in the equation. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have mattered if you were negative about it or positive about it. You're going to lift up that bottle. It has nothing to do with your mindset, I do understand that being negative could have, like if you're a negative person generally, which I tend to be a lot, that, it could affect your mood and stuff and your confidence, things like that. And I agree. Negativity isn't really good. But my point is that it's irrelevant, I think. And I think the same thing with positivity. I think that it's overall just a risk assessment. So sorry, I just got a text and I got distracted. My overall philosophy is that it's ultimately just a risk assessment, like I said, and really just comes down to what are the things that I can't control, and if there are things that are preventing me from success or at whatever it is that I'm doing that's outside of my control, then I can't be hard on myself because it's outside of your control. It's kind of like a stoic approach. And the things that are in your control that will better your success at whatever it is that you're going for, improve on that. And really, I think that's the only thing that matters, not so much your mindset. Or at least I should be saying that it should be disincentivized, negative and positive thoughts. Like you should just not care about them when they come. I don't think negative thoughts are inherently bad. I don't think positive thoughts are inherently good. I think they're just thoughts and risk assessments, and I think that they're usually inaccurate, and so you shouldn't just listen to them to begin with. You should rather just, work on the things in your life that will move you forward towards your goal. And I feel like just adding positive and negative thoughts is just doing the same thing with extra steps. Like I just think it's unnecessary, really. But I got a book. My mom actually bought it for me. It's called Optimism, I think. I can't remember the name of it. I just got it, about positive and negative thinking. So who knows? Maybe it'll change my perspective. But I'm open to having my mind changed and stuff. But that's always been my kind of interpretation of it. So I'm not pro-negative thinking. I'm not pro-positive thinking. I'm just more of a person that I just want to focus on the things that I can control and factor in probabilities and stuff, because we all do it. It sounds like I'm like a mathematician or some shit, but I'm talking like we all do that. You know, when we cross the street, we both look both ways. It's not because have a negative thought of getting hit by a car. You know, we wouldn't consider that a negative thought. That's just a risk assessment. Like, that's a good idea. You know, even though it brings up a negative thought of you getting hit by a car if you don't look both ways. We still look both ways, right? So it's more of like a protection thing, you know? But anyways, I feel like I've been rambling on about this particular thing. Yeah. I just woke up. It's about 8:30. About ready to get ready for therapy. I do not want to get up. Hey everyone, got a little bit of the sniffles today. I just got back from therapy and then I took a little nap because I was tired because I took a morning clonazepam. Yeah, last day of therapy was really cool. Or really good, I should say. We had a yoga / meditation. We have that every Monday. And, sorry about that. And I found that to be really beneficial. And so I thought I'd kind of share my experience with it. And everyone's different. Sometimes it may work for others and not for other people. But for me, it was kind of easy to kind of get into because basically what it is you get the mat out and whatnot, and you do like these body stretches and stuff. And the whole point of it is putting yourself in like positions that are kind of uncomfortable and just deep breathing and just kind of sitting with that feeling and seeing how your body reacts, and you get to control how much stretch you do or how. So like if you want more sensations, you could stretch more, and if it's too much sensation, you could pull back. And that was really beneficial to me because as someone with health anxiety, I'm constantly scanning my body for weird sensations, and whenever I do get a weird sensation, it like flares up my anxiety, and I assume the worst, assume it's either a heart attack or a stroke or whatever. And so like I was already in a state of like body awareness. And so like the meditation is kind of like that, and like just flipping it on its head and like just sitting with the uncomfortable sensations of stretching kind of helped me become more tolerant of uncomfortable feelings in my body, and knowing that it'll just pass. And so whenever I'd feel anxiety symptoms now, I could kind of treat it the same way. And it certainly helped a lot. It's hard to say if it could like stop a full-blown panic attack. I don't think it can do that. But it was a really good coping skill that I learned, just to kind of breathe through it and kind of sit with it the same way you do with yoga / meditation. So overall, I had a pretty positive experience with it. So I thought I'd share that. Like I said, today was my last day. I was in there for 3 weeks and shared a lot of, pretty much shared almost everything I shared with you so far. And just being around other people who deals with similar things helped me feel less alone. And the new group should be getting a hold of me sometime this week to see when I join that. It's not a men's group. It was considered an adults group. which I don't know why, because we were all adults in my group too, but I guess it's just a different thing, just called different. And also the job company will be calling me sometime this week too, hopefully, about helping me find a job so I could stop living off ramen noodles. Yeah, I'm broke as AF. But yeah, a lot of things are going in a good direction now. So hopefully I'll be getting a job soon and moving on from there. And yeah, I'll start doing more paintings too. I've been doing a painting here I've been working on, and it's turning out really, really well. And it's probably one of my best ones I've ever done so far. A lot of detail, but anyways, it isn't an art video day today, so sorry for changing the subject. And as far as the quitting smoking is going, it's not going very well. Still not smoking cigarettes, but I ended up vaping. I'm gonna have to get like a patch or something because a cold turkey is just absolutely miserable. Like you can't sleep. I get like jittery and stuff, and like the cravings are just nonstop. So I'm thinking about getting like patches and maybe like one of those vapes that have no nicotine in it. It's just basically air or water vapor. Just to kind of break the habit. But yeah, I feel kind of ashamed a little bit about that because I genuinely was trying to quit, and the fact that I fell back into smoking again, vaping, it's kind of, don't want to say fail because I could always try again, which I'm gonna do. But yeah, I'm vaping now, so I'll get some patches and a nicotine-less vape and try that out, and hopefully that'll help. But yeah, that's pretty much been my day so far. I'm probably gonna spend the rest of the night painting and might play some video games with my friend Tyler. And yeah, overall, it's my day's gone pretty well. Had a little bit of anxiety at therapy for some reason, which is why I took a chlorazepam. But it wasn't anything I could didn't flare up real bad or anything, and just some weird sensations, and I kind of breathed through it and stuff. And I think that's also why I want to bring up the or not the meditation, but the yoga, is because I used kind of that same mindset I do in yoga to kind of like realign my focus onto something. That's the other thing is with meditation / yoga. You could call it meditation too. I don't know. Because I'm not really a spiritual person. I don't do it for like spiritual purposes. I do it just to be able to think clearly when you're in uncomfortable sensations, and I thought that would be a valuable skill / coping skill to have with anxiety, since the triggers of my anxiety are actual body sensations. So that definitely seemed like something that would help me. But yeah, I'll end the video, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll keep you updated.